During the week, I spotted some bit of text that was part of a Buddhist email, or somebody sent a quote or something. I'm not sure, something in an email. And a Buddhist text showed up, and it spoke about refuge, taking refuge in silence, in presence. And I thought, it's an interesting word, refuge. So my thesaurus said harbor or shelter as another word for refuge. And what I'd like to offer you guys is an opportunity to explore what for you is a refuge. Where I'd like to bring you is for you to find the zone where there's only seeing, if you've access to that right now, verb only, prior to anything showing up. If you have access to that, can that be a refuge, a go-to? Can that be where you dial into? That's where I wanted to go. Now, it means identifying at the moment, what is the go-to? If you bring your body-mind perspective, we move from seeing slightly into where I can see the body-mind perspective. So you're coming a little bit closer to creation, to manifestation. We're engaging a little bit in that zone because we need some objective capacity of our mind for this exercise. Try not to shift completely into my story. Move towards your watching the individual. Objectively watching the individual that has a capacity to believe that it's real and having a physical life. That individual, what would be its go-to if you were to identify it? Is it go-to a joint? Is the go-to feeling sorry for yourself? Is the go-to porn? Is the go-to disconnecting from people? Is the go-to social media? What's the go-to? Where does the human mind think that there is shelter? You're pulling it into a familiar harbor. It's worth having a look to see what's our go-to that is familiar. And can we swap that out for your essence, for the divine, for that zone where there's no subject object, which I'm identifying as pure seeing this morning? So I need you to take a moment to think about, to let it arise. When you objectively look at the person you call you, where does that person self-soothe? Or where is the familiar touchstone that helps the individual to die down, to dial down, to feel safe? Where does it take refuge? Where does it take shelter when it's all too much? What does it do? What the mind is trained to do is to take refuge in external things. It is wired to perceive what is outside, use its conditioning to assess it in order to navigate your way forward. That's its job. But you are not your mind. You have a mind. You are not your body. You have a body. And so that deeper essence, the wisdom must come from there for it to recognize, yeah, the human mind is going to go to an external. What if we were to find a refuge that wasn't the external? What if we were to actively swap out? I go to TV. I go to Facebook. What if we were to, the mind is doing its best to find shelter, to dial down. It's doing its best. Its spectrum is external, feeds internal. That's how it works. So it's not equipped. Its spectrum of possibilities doesn't include your essence, because your mind can't go to seeing. Your mind cannot drop subject-object perception. It cannot. They're the limitations. Your mind is the limited capacity. What you are doesn't have those limits at all. At all. What you are is pure potentiality itself. What you are is that original hum from which all of the galaxies unfolded and will always continue to unfold. When you take refuge, when you self-soothe, can it be that there could be access to inner peace, being present? These will work fine too. That which is not created, that which is not a state of mind created by mind and belief systems. Can your refuge be seeing? That which is prior to subject-object perception? Can you go to verb and move totally away from I am feeling peaceful? Can we totally move away from full sentences, subject-object perception, to verb only? If you have access to that, great. If you have access to that, here is the practice that would be really beneficial to do this week. Every time you go to your place of refuge, you self-soothe, and your mind will automatically do it to take care of you. Just go, I'm going to the verb. I'm going to the verb. And your mind will go, no, I'm here to help you. I'm here to save you. You need this. You need to do this to dial down. Your mind will say that because it doesn't get your essence. It can't go there. It's beyond its boundary. But you as pure consciousness, your mind is a little dot within the realm of what you really are. Can you swap out the idea that a refuge must be something from the outside to help me to, or even a behavior on the outside, but it's always in relation to the outside. Yeah, I want to be alone, or I want to be in nature, or it's always in relation to the outside, your refuge, your shelter, your harbor. Can you have your essence as the harbor? Religions have seeds of this. You know, when you're in trouble, go to God, instead of looking on the outside. So life sets us up that when our mind can't come up with anything else, when we're helpless, when we're hopeless, in some life situation, where if any of us have been raised with a religious faith, it will be that's really when there's nothing left but God. So our mind will accept that. I'm totally run out of ideas. Now I've got to go to faith. So we tend to do it because our religious conditioning might have told us, this is when you pray. There's nothing left now but to pray. These kind of thoughts, putting the role of prayer there in the subject-object perception. And religion does that. What I want to do is say, hey, instead of the step-by-step of making prayer and the divine, instead of making that the last resort, let it be the first place you go, not as a thought, but as you as pure consciousness, recognizing that my refuge is outside of mind, is outside of mind. Can that be your refuge instead?